Love after 60. 5 phrases a man says only to the woman he loves madly. No one realizes it. Welcome to Wise Life After 60. So grateful to have you here. Have you ever wondered why men, even after all these years, still struggle to show what they really feel? After 60, love becomes quieter. But it's not weaker, it's wiser. It hides in gestures, in silence, and sometimes in one simple phrase that carries an entire lifetime of devotion. When a man truly loves a woman, he rarely says, "I love you," the way he once did in his youth. He doesn't perform it, he lives it. His feelings reveal themselves through subtle words that most people overlook. That's what I've learned after decades of watching men who loved deeply but spoke sparingly. In this journey through love after 60, we'll uncover the 5 phrases that no one recognizes for what it truly is. The quiet confession that says, "You are my peace." So if you've ever wondered how men express love, or if you've been searching for signs that your partner still loves you deeply, stay with me. Because once you understand this language of mature love, you'll never listen to his words the same way again. If what you've heard so far already stirs something inside you, take a moment to like this video and subscribe to Wise Life After 60. It helps this community grow, but more than that, it tells me these stories still matter, that love still matters. So settle in, take a deep breath, and let's begin. What do you think? When a man asks, "What do you think?" it is not small talk, it is surrender. Most people hear it as a casual question, but beneath those 4 words lies something rare: respect. Men are taught all their lives to lead, to fix, to be decisive. They are conditioned to believe that strength means never needing guidance. So when a man pauses in his own certainty and turns to you for perspective, he is not giving up control. He is showing trust. After 60, this kind of question carries even more weight. It means he has lived long enough to understand that wisdom does not belong to youth or gender. It belongs to those who have paid attention to life. When he asks, "What do you think?" he is not looking for validation. He is inviting your mind into his private decision-making, blending his world with yours. There was a fascinating study from the University of Michigan about long-term marriages. Researchers found that couples who regularly consulted each other before making big or small decisions, even something as simple as what to cook or which movie to watch, reported the highest levels of emotional satisfaction and mutual respect. It was not about agreeing on everything. It was about the act of asking. The question itself became a bridge. That is the quiet beauty of it. When a man asks your opinion, he is saying, "I value the way you see the world." He is not merely interested in your answer. He is interested in your way of thinking. It is his way of saying you are not just part of his life, you help shape the direction of it. In my own circle, I have seen this again and again. A friend once told me that the moment he realized he had fallen in love was not during a romantic date, but at the grocery store. He found himself asking, "What do you think of this one?" while holding 2 jars of sauce. He said later, "It hit me. I cared what she thought, even about my dinner." That's when I knew she had become my compass. When he trusts your thoughts, he is trusting your essence. He is letting you stand beside him in the inner landscape where his decisions are made, a place most men guard fiercely. And the more he lets you in there, the more he is saying, without words, that your voice completes the silence he used to live in. Sometimes love is not, "I need you." It is, "I need to know what you think."
Phrase number 2. I had a rough day. What does it take for a man to finally say, I had a rough day? Not much in words, but everything in trust. For many men, that sentence is heavier than it sounds. Most were raised to carry their own weight, to fix what is broken, to hide what hurts. Admitting struggle feels like betrayal to the image they've spent a lifetime building. So when he comes home, exhales, and quietly says, "It was a hard day," he is not seeking pity. He is laying down the armor for a moment, showing you the human side he hides from the world. After 60, that vulnerability becomes even more meaningful. Time has taught him endurance, but not always gentleness. When he lets you see his fatigue, he is offering something sacred, his unfiltered self. He is saying, without any grand words, "I don't have to pretend with you." The right response is not to rush in and fix it. It is to stay still, to let your eyes tell him that he is safe. Your calm becomes the space where his rest begins. It is one of the quietest forms of love to hold space without trying to heal. In those moments, conversation turns into connection. The room softens. Silence becomes its own language. "I had a rough day" is no longer a complaint. It is a confession of trust. I have seen it countless times among couples who've been together for decades. The strongest relationships are not the ones that avoid pain, but the ones that can sit with it side by side. They do not fill every silence with advice. They allow honesty to breathe. Let me ask you something. When someone you love opens up about their weariness, what do you do? Do you jump in to make it better? Or do you simply stay, quietly letting them know they are not alone? Share your thoughts in the comments. I would truly love to hear how you hold space for the people you care about. Because in the end, love is not only the joy we share, it is the gentleness we offer when someone's spirit bends a little under the weight of the day. And if he keeps coming back to that quiet place beside you, it is not out of habit. It is because he has finally found home.
Phrase 3. I like how you arranged this. There is a certain quietness in the places a man calls his own. The familiar scent of his chair, the stack of magazines by the window, the clock he has never reset. Every object holds a story of who he has been. For many men, these spaces are small islands of control in a world that keeps changing. That is why the words, "I like how you arranged this," mean so much more than they sound. When he notices something you've touched in his environment, a book you moved, a new vase you placed, a curtain you chose, he is not simply approving your taste. He is welcoming your energy into the rhythm of his life. Men rarely invite influence into their private space. It is not pride, it is instinct. Their surroundings are mirrors of identity, and to let someone alter that mirror is an act of vulnerability. When he says he likes what you've done, he is quietly saying, I feel safe with your presence here. I once met a woman in a local community group who told me a story about her late husband. He had an old study that no one dared to organize. After he fell ill, she began tidying it, dusting the shelves, polishing the desk, and replacing a broken lamp. When he saw it, he stood silently for a long time before saying, It feels lighter in here. She smiled through tears as she told me, That was the first time he let me in, without words. It is a simple line, but it carries the weight of emotional permission. It means you are no longer a visitor passing through, you are part of the landscape. You are trusted to rearrange the room and a little corner of his heart. Psychologists often note that our personal spaces reflect our inner state. When a man lets you shape that environment, he is subconsciously allowing you to bring balance where he once felt alone. It is not decoration, it is transformation. I like how you arrange this is love disguised as observation. It is gratitude dressed in simplicity. And if you listen closely, what he's really saying is, I like how you make my world feel. In that small acknowledgement lies a truth few notice. Sometimes the most intimate words are not about emotion at all. They're about belonging.
What are you doing tomorrow? Love does not always announce its plans. Sometimes it slips quietly into the everyday, in a man's simple question, What are you doing tomorrow? To most, it sounds like casual conversation. But to a man who has spent a lifetime learning the difference between company and connection, that question means something far greater. It means he is imagining a tomorrow with you in it. When a man includes you in his future plans, no matter how small, it is not an empty gesture. It is an emotional commitment disguised as curiosity. He is not asking about your schedule. He is asking about your place in his days. It is his way of saying, I want you to belong in the time I have left. The poet Rumi once wrote, Wherever you are, and whatever you do, be in love. To be in love, truly, is to think forward, not only about passion, but about presence. A man who asks about your tomorrow is not focused on the moment. He is quietly shaping continuity. Psychologist Dr. John Gottman, who studied thousands of long-term couples, found that relationships thrive when both people express bids for connection, small invitations to share time and attention. Every "What are you doing tomorrow?" is exactly that, a bid for continuity. It is the heart's way of saying, stay close, I want to keep this going. After 60, that question carries a different weight. It is not about planning adventures or filling calendars. It is about belonging to each other's rhythm of days, the morning coffee, the quiet walks, and the shared laughter that softens the evening. When a man asks about your tomorrow, he is giving you a key to his time, and time is the most precious thing he has left to give. Let me ask you something. When someone invites you into their plans, even in a small way, how does it make you feel? Does it remind you that love is not in promises, but in presence? I would love to hear your thoughts in the comments. Because love in the later chapters of life is not written in grand gestures or long speeches, it is written in moments of gentle inclusion, the way someone thinks of you when they think of their next day. And when that happens, you are no longer part of his past, you are already living in his future.
Phrase 5. I don't know what to do. Graham once told me about the night everything changed for him. He was sitting at the kitchen table, staring at a letter that carried bad news about his health. For most of his life, he had been the strong one, the decision maker, the man everyone leaned on. But that night, he looked at his wife and said quietly, "I don't know what to do." She did not interrupt or rush to reassure him. She simply reached across the table and held his hand. He said later, "That was the first time I felt safe being small." That sentence, "I don't know what to do," might be the most vulnerable thing a man can ever say. It is not an admission of failure. It is an offering of truth. Society teaches men to hide uncertainty, to pretend they always have the answers. So when he lets you see that part of him, it means he trusts you with the side the world never gets to witness. After 60, that kind of openness is even rarer. Life has carved deep lines of pride and independence into him. To admit confusion now is not weakness, it is courage in its most tender form. In that moment, he is not asking you to solve his problem. He is asking you to stand beside him while he faces it. What he needs most is not advice, but calm presence, the kind that says, "You are not less for feeling lost." There is something profoundly human about allowing another person to witness your uncertainty. It strips away the roles and masks. It reminds both of you that love is not built on perfection, but on permission to be imperfect together. When a man says, "I don't know what to do," and you respond with quiet steadiness, he feels something shift inside. He realizes he no longer has to carry every answer alone. You have become a partner, not just in joy, but in uncertainty. I often think of what Graham told me years later. "I never forgot that night," he said, "because she didn't tell me what to do. She just sat with me until I could breathe again." That is what trust looks like when it matures. It is not about solving, it is about sharing the weight of being human. And sometimes those 5 simple words are not the sound of confusion, they are the sound of love at its most honest. The deepest "I love you" is rarely spoken aloud. It hides in sentences that sound ordinary, in questions that seem simple, in gestures that ask for nothing but trust. A man may never say the words, but if you listen closely, you will hear them in the way he includes you in his thoughts, his time, and his silence. A man's love is not measured by how often he declares it. It is revealed in how safe he feels to be himself around you. He loves you when he listens, when he confides, when he lets you see the cracks he hides from the rest of the world. That is the kind of love that outlasts youth and appearance. It becomes peace, not performance. If this message touched something in you, take a moment to like this video and subscribe to Wise Life After 60. It helps this community grow, but more importantly, it reminds us that love in our later years is not fading, it is deepening. Because the truth is, he may not always say, "I love you," but he will always show it in the quiet symbols only your heart will recognize.